All right, here in the article, it starts out by saying Hong Kong has the most expensive housing market in the world. Now, before we go further, let's just talk about a housing market, what that is. Basically, the most simple definition we can say in English, it's the buying and selling of houses, usually specific to the area you're in. So Taipei's housing market is different than Kaohsiung's housing market and that sort of thing.
Yes, housing market 字面上你可以看出来就是房屋市场，也就是指房价。所以呢，文章开头告诉我们呢，香港的房价是世界上最贵的。I think Taipei City has an expensive housing market too.
It does, yes.
It's hard for people to buy an apartment in Taipei City now. You gotta be really rich to do so.
Right, I think that's a big problem in Taiwan, actually. Yeah. But unfortunately, we're not talking about Taiwan today. We're talking about Hong Kong. So let's find out more about it. Here it says, that's Hong Kong, has a population of nearly 7.5 million, but only 7% of the land area is zoned for housing.
所以呢，香港有750万人口。That's nearly the same population of Taipei and New Taipei City.
Right.
But wait a minute. There's only 7% of the land is zoned for housing?
Right, and I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure Taipei and New Taipei has more than 7% of land zoned for housing.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we've used this verb zone a couple of times. Let's just get a quick definition of it. It means to officially say that a piece of land can be used for a particular purpose and not other purposes. So if it's zoned for housing, you can't have a business there, for example.
Zone 这个动词呢，代表的是将某地划成某区，通常呢是以被动态出现。在香港 ，7% of the land area is zoned for housing，只有7%的土地被划来建房屋，也就是只有7%的住宅用地。That's crazy.
It is. That's not a lot of land for housing for a huge amount of people. What do these numbers mean, though? Here in the article, it says about 200,000 of its citizens have no choice but to live in dirty cells in crowded apartments. Okay, so housing is so scarce or not common in Hong Kong, and it's so expensive to find a good place that some people have to live in tiny little places. Now, in fact, we have used the phrase have no choice but to do something to show that this is their only choice. Now, here's another way to use this phrase. With such terrible weather, we had no choice but to cancel the picnic.
天气如此糟糕，我们别无选择，只好取消野餐活动。Choice 它是名词，代表选择。To have no choice but to do something 代表的是别无选择，只好做某事。There's another example. The student behaved really bad, so the teacher had no choice but to call his parents. 老师别无选择，只好打电话给他的家长。Here in the article, a large number of Hong Kong citizens have no choice but to live in dirty cells.
That's right. Now, we mentioned that they're living in these cells. Now, here, cell is similar to the small room that prisoners would stay in when in prison, or to the small rooms that monks would stay in a monastery. It's basically another way of saying a very small room.
Right. Cell 当名词用是小隔间的意思，在 prison 监狱里头一间一间的牢房也叫做 cell。另外呢 ，cell 还有细胞或是手机的意思。
Okay, so let's continue on in the article. Here it says, these coffin homes, that's another way to describe this cell, have no natural light and measure only about 180 by 76 centimeters.
Wow, coffin 这个字是棺材。Coffin homes 代表就是棺材房，棺材房里面的环境呢，就像它的名字一样，没有 natural light， 没有自然光线。至于大小呢 ，they measure only about 180 by 76 centimeters.
Let's talk about that noun centimeter. A centimeter is used to measure length. Now, 1 meter is made up of 100 centimeters. That means these coffin homes are just under 2 meters long and less than 1 meter wide. Plus, I'm 157 centimeters tall, so there would only be 23 centimeters left of empty space when I lie down in one of these coffin homes. Here's another example. The kindergarten student measured the line and found that it has a length of 10 centimeters.
Centimeter 是公分，那如果你拿掉字首的 center， 你会看到 meter 这个字，那就是公尺。那一个地方呢，我们如果要去丈量出来它的长度，我们可以搭配 measure 这个动词来表示。那 measure 指的是呢测量的动作或是测出的尺寸。For example, the sofa measures 180 centimeters， 沙发的长度为180公分。那如果要加上宽度呢，只要加上介系词 by 就可以了。就像文章里面说到的 ，The coffin homes measure only about 180 by 76 centimeters， 棺材房的长度是180公分，宽度则是76公分。How can people live in such a small place?
I have no idea, Elsie. All right, well, let's find out even more about these coffin homes. Here it says, the bedrooms have thin walls and doors, so there is little privacy. So it's not just very, very small. It's also hard to keep other people from hearing what you do, what you say. Things, maybe if you burp,
and they can
hear everything. Right.
That's not great at all, right?
No.
棺材房不但小呢，而且隔音很差，根本没有什么隐私可言。Privacy 这个名词呢，就是隐私。Our privacy needs to be protected and respected. 隐私不足，我们就可以用 little 这个字来形容。For example, I used to share a room with my sister, so I had little privacy.
Okay. Well, here it gets even worse. It says up to 30 residents share one kitchen, toilet, and shower area. Now,
wow.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay, so a resident, let's look at this noun. A resident is someone who stays or lives in a particular place. Now, this can be residents of a city, residents of an apartment building, residents of an elderly care center, and lots more, anywhere where people live or stay. Here it says, as an example sentence, the building's residents went outside because someone had pulled the fire alarm.
Resident 这个名词呢，代表的是居民，居民所居住的地区，我们说是 a residential area。residential 就是形容词，代表居住的。那 residence 这个名词呢，代表的是住所。比如说the president's official residence， 那就是总统官邸。
Okay, so what's happening is all of these cells make up one apartment.
Yeah.
So where I would normally live in just one apartment, maybe there's 30 other people living in that room with me. All right, so they all live together in one apartment, but they each have to share their kitchen where they make food, the toilet, and the shower. Now think of how hard it can be to do that with just your family sometimes.
So I can't imagine myself being in that situation. And I think it would be very hard to keep good hygiene in the apartment.
That is right. And that's why here it says the apartments usually smell extremely bad and are crawling with bed bugs and other insects. Now, there's a lot to talk about in that sentence, but first we're going to learn what today's shortcut for you, be crawling with something, means.